Welcome dreamers. Ready to relax and unwind? Get comfy and let our soft night tales take you to magical places. Enjoy.
What if there was a place where the sun never quite set, where the sky was stuck between night and day? Imagine living there, where the world never truly sleeps, and yet you've never found peace yourself. It's a story about Jara, a young woman on the edge of her own world, searching for something that's always felt just out of reach: sleep, and the deep rest that comes with it. But what happens when your quest for peace takes you somewhere far stranger than you ever imagined? Tonight, we're going to journey through the world of Halern, a village where twilight stretches on for what feels like forever. The villagers live under a never-ending sky, always glowing with the warmth of sunset, but for some, like Jara, it's a constant struggle to find real rest. In a place where sleep comes easily to everyone but her, she sets out on a journey that will change her understanding of dreams, the night, and her own heart. So, settle in, and let's follow Jara's story through a place where the rules of the world aren't quite what they seem. Halern wasn't an extraordinary village, not by the standards of grand cities or rustling towns. Nestled in the valley between towering mountain peaks, its stone homes dotted the landscape, each one with warm windows glowing in the ever-present twilight. The sky, forever caught between dusk and dawn, wrapped the village in a soft, golden hue, as though time itself was in no rush to move forward. The air was always cool and fresh, with a light breeze that carried the scent of wildflowers from the hills. The people of Halern had long since grown used to the endless twilight. They had adapted to it, finding comfort in the soft, amber light that bathed the world. The days were never too hot, and the nights never too cold. Sleep came easy for most, like a gentle tide, drawing them into dreams as soon as the world softened into night. But not for Jara. Jara couldn't sleep the way everyone else did. While the village drifted off into peaceful slumber each night, she remained awake, her mind buzzing with thoughts that never seemed to stop. She had tried everything, listening to the soothing lullabies of the wind, walking in the gardens, even talking with Rian about her struggles, but nothing worked. She lay awake, staring at the stars that shone like tiny, distant fires in the sky, wondering why her mind refused to quiet. It wasn't just that she couldn't sleep. It was that she couldn't understand why. The villagers would wake each morning refreshed, energized for a new day of work or leisure, their faces bright and peaceful. But not Jara. She always felt as though something was missing, something everyone else had figured out but her. Rian, her closest friend, would sit with her during the quiet nights. He was an elf, tall and lean, his silver hair glowing like moonlight, his pale eyes sharp but kind. He had an almost otherworldly quality to him, calm, thoughtful, always at peace with the world. He was the opposite of Jara in every way. "Maybe you're trying too hard," he'd suggest softly, his voice the kind of soothing sound that should have helped her sleep. "The twilight is a part of you now, Jara. Let it fill you. Let it carry you into rest, just like it carries everyone else." But it never worked. And every night, Jara grew more frustrated. She didn't want to be different. She didn't want to stand out in the way that made her feel isolated. And yet, each time she tried to close her eyes, her mind would race, thoughts running faster than the slow-moving winds outside her window. The people of Halern were used to the twilight. They had accepted it. But Jara? She couldn't even begin to understand it. One night, as the cool air settled over the village and the lanterns of the Twilight Festival flickered to life in the town square, Jara found herself standing at the edge of the gathering, watching her fellow villagers dance and sing. The vibrant colors of the festival clothing fluttered in the gentle breeze, and the soft sounds of a lute and flute mixed with the laughter of children running between the booths. It was beautiful. It was peaceful, but it was also distant. Jara felt like an observer. Her body was there, but her mind wasn't. The rest of the village was wrapped in a gentle, sleepy haze, enjoying the festival as the stars above twinkled brighter than ever. The night had settled over them in a way that seemed to blanket the whole town, offering a sense of deep peace. But not Jara. She stood alone in the shadows, her heart heavy with longing. Why couldn't she be like everyone else? Why couldn't she slip into the kind of sleep that came naturally to others? The music around her seemed to grow fainter as she sank deeper into her own thoughts. Rian, always the thoughtful one, came to stand beside her, his silver hair almost glowing in the dim light. He noticed her distant gaze and followed it, understanding the unspoken weight behind her eyes. "You're thinking about it again, aren't you?" he asked gently, though it was more of a statement than a question. Jara nodded, her shoulders slumping. "I don't get it, Rian. Why do they all seem so at peace, while I feel like I'm just stuck?" Rian studied her for a moment, his pale eyes reflecting the flicker of lantern light. "You've always been different, Jara," he said, his tone warm but filled with a certain sadness. "The twilight has always been more than just the time of day here. It's a part of us, a part of this village. But maybe for you, it's never been enough. Maybe you need to go further. Find out what it is that makes you whole." Jara had heard whispers of a mysterious place on the edges of Halloran, a place that no one really talked about, except in hushed tones. The Midnight Hollow. A hidden sanctuary deep in the mountains where time, they said, felt different. Where dreams were said to become real, and where the restless could find peace. Some said it was nothing more than a legend, while others believed it was the key to understanding the strange nature of Halloran itself. Without another word, Jara made up her mind. The next evening, after the festival had ended and the last lantern had flickered out, Jara set out alone. She walked through the quiet streets of Halloran, past the slumbering houses, feeling the cool night air on her skin. There was no one around, everyone else was at peace, asleep in their beds. But she? She was still searching. She followed the old path that led to the mountains, the same path that the villagers had taken long ago when they first settled Halloran. The path was narrow and twisted, lined with dense trees whose branches hung heavy with moss. The deeper she went, the darker it became. The twilight seemed to fade away the farther she traveled, until only the stars above and the faint glow from distant Halloran guided her steps. Hours passed. Her legs grew tired, but she kept going, her resolve growing stronger with each step. It was as though she could sense that she was getting closer to something important, something that might finally give her the answers she so desperately needed. Eventually, after what felt like an eternity, she came upon a clearing at the foot of a towering mountain. And there, at the center of the clearing, stood an enormous stone archway, unlike anything she had ever seen before. It was ancient, carved with symbols that seemed to glow faintly in the darkness. This, she knew, was the entrance to the Midnight Hollow. Taking a deep breath, Jara stepped through the archway. The moment she crossed it, the air changed. The temperature dropped, and the sky above shifted, as though the very stars themselves had aligned differently. The world around her felt alive, almost sentient, aware of her presence. In the center of the hollow, she saw him. The Keeper of Dreams. He was seated on the ground, his long white hair flowing like a river of silver, his eyes closed in deep meditation. There was a serene calm about him, as though he had long ago discovered the secret Jara had been searching for. "Are you the Keeper of Dreams?" Jara asked, her voice trembling slightly. The old elf opened his eyes slowly, their depths filled with the wisdom of countless ages. His voice, when it came, was soft but powerful. "I've been waiting for you, Jara." The Keeper of Dreams smiled gently, beckoning her to sit beside him. "The answer you seek has always been with you," he said. "The peace you long for, the rest that has eluded you, comes not from seeking it in the world around you, but from understanding the stillness within yourself." Jara looked up at him, confusion still clouding her thoughts. "But how? How do I find it?" The Keeper of Dreams reached out and placed a hand on her shoulder, his touch warm and steady. "You've been fighting against the very thing that could give you peace. You cannot force sleep, nor can you chase it. You must let it come to you, like the twilight does every evening. Just as the stars cannot be hurried to rise, neither can your dreams. You must surrender to the moment, to the quiet." And in that moment, Jara finally understood. She had spent so much time fighting the restless thoughts, trying to force them away, that she hadn't allowed herself the space to relax. She had been so caught up in her frustration that she had forgotten the most important thing: peace comes when we stop seeking it so desperately. As she closed her eyes, she felt the calm wash over her like a wave, gentle and soft. The stars above twinkled in their eternal dance, and the world seemed to hold its breath as she finally slipped into the kind of sleep she had been seeking for so long. If you enjoyed this peaceful journey with Jara, be sure to subscribe for more calming stories to help you find the rest you deserve. Sweet dreams.